everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video I'm really excited to do. I received the Colourpop California Love Summer Collection in PR. So today's video is going to be all about the collection. I'm going to be live swatching each of the different eyeshadows from this palette on my eyes, doing an eye tutorial, also trying out the 2 new mascaras, and swatching the 5 new Ultra Blotted lips on my lips also. So we definitely have a lot to get through. I've already completed everything, so I'm probably looking a little crazy at the moment, but I'm really excited to do this. I do get some PR from Colourpop, but not everything, and usually when it comes to new releases, I'm a little bit behind. Like I get them behind, you know, some other people, which is okay, but I actually got this one a little bit earlier, so I was really excited. I asked on Twitter if you guys would want to see me do a video on the collection, and it was an overwhelming yes. So today's video is not sponsored or anything like that, but I did get this collection sent over to me. I do also have a discount code with Colourpop. It's not an affiliate code, so I don't earn anything from that, but the code 5Samantha will get you $5 off your order of 20 or more. There is exclusions in there, such as new releases, and also I don't think any palettes are available to use a discount code on, but if you're just placing one big order and you're getting some new things but some older things, the $5 off 20 will apply to the older items in your cart. If those equal up to 20, you can get the $5 off. Hopefully that makes sense. And it is a one-time use code, because I know I've had a couple of you message me recently saying that my code is no longer working for them, but it worked before. It is just a one-time use code, unfortunately. So I did want to go ahead and mention that. But like I said, we do have a lot to get through today. So if you are interested in seeing more about the California Love collection from Colourpop, why don't we go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start off first with the eyeshadow palette, because I think this is what people are most excited about. So this is the California Love palette. This retails for $18 and you have 12 different shades inside. I thought this one was interesting because it said this is kind of like the summer sister palette to the Sweet Talk, which I absolutely love the Sweet Talk palette. I did a really similar video to this one with the Sweet Talk collection that came out, doing a bunch of swatches with everything. So I can link that video down below, but I really do like that palette. So this one here is actually more on the neutral side. You have a lot of warm tones in here. You do have a glitter also, and then some really nice shimmers in here. There is no mirror on this one either, but there is what the palette looks like, and I will do an up close of the palette and then also the swatches in here. But reading off of the Colourpop website when it comes to the palette, so the different shades inside, we have Diego, which is a warm mid-tone gold. Gnarly is a soft warm beige. Sequoia is a vibrant yellow tangerine. Gold Brush is a rusty terracotta with gold flecks. Highway 1 is a chestnut brown with gold flecks. Laguna is a muted yellow gold. El Capitan is bronze, copper, and gold pressed glitter. Surfrider is a mid-tone terracotta with gold glitter. Then we have Cahuenga, which is a vibrant copper. Mission is a deep brown with gold flecks. Cruisin' is a pale yellow gold. And then the Bay is a neutral warm brown. So those are the different shades in this palette. I'm going to go ahead and swatch each one of them on my eyes so we can get an idea of what they look like. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom you in. So I'm just going to kind of work my way down through the palette. So the first shade we have here is Diego, which is a really beautiful shimmer. It felt nice and soft and creamy when I swatched it. It's described as a warm mid-tone gold. I'm going to be using a flat shader brush. This is from Sigma. This is the E58. I'm going to go ahead and do it dry, and then I am also going to spray my brush and see what it looks like damp. I typically use pretty much any shimmer with a damp brush, but for the video I want to do dry and then also wet to see the difference. Honestly, this one though, Diego, is really beautiful even with a dry brush. I think that gold is really quite pretty, and I don't notice a lot of fallout from that one either. So this one here is Diego with a dry brush. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more to my Sigma E58, and I'm just going to spray it with a little bit of Fix Plus. But ooh, look at that. So that, spraying my brush just kind of turned it into almost more of like a liquidy eyeshadow. That looks really beautiful. So even though I did like it dry, I honestly would use this wet and pack it on the eye, because that looks really beautiful. This here is the first shade, Diego, and we are really kicking it off with a bang in this palette. Okay, so I'm just going to work on one eye for right now, and then when it gets a little too irritated, I'll switch to the other one. But in between, I'm just wiping it off, and I'm putting on a little bit of this concealer from Uoma Beauty. I tried out a bunch of their products in a recent video. I will link it down below, but I'm just going to go ahead and apply it. And I don't have it set. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't with eyeshadows, but just to kind of make it a little bit easier on me, I'm just going to go ahead and add the concealer and keep on rolling. So next up, we have the shade Gnarly. For my matte shades, I'm going to use a Sigma E25 because I have like a bajillion of these. So I'm going to go ahead and use Gnarly. I'm going to try it first to blend it out, and then I'm also going to go ahead and pack onto the lid. This one is described as a soft, warm beige. So this looks like a color that I would really love in my transition. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with my E25 and start to blend it onto the lid. I really love Colourpop palettes. I very rarely have issues, you know, being able to blend out shades or anything like that. But this one appears to be blending very easily, and this would be a beautiful transition shade on me. Like, this would be a lot of times the first shade that I'm going in with in a palette, and I can put it pretty high up here on my crease too to kind of get a nice, you know, gradient of shades down from the lid. I think this is just a nice shade to include in the palette. So that is what Gnarly looks like. Blend it out on the eyes, and then I'm just going to go ahead and take the same brush and also kind of pack along the lid just to get another idea here. So I'm just going to go ahead and pack on the lid. This is like a pretty soft shade, but I think it adds like just enough on me. I really enjoy that we have this color in a palette. I'm someone who I really like to go into one palette for a full look, so I enjoy having these types of matte transition shades in there. Next up, we have the shade Sequoia. So this one is described as a vibrant yellow tangerine. I'm just going to use another Sigma E25, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did with Gnarly. I'm first going to kind of more add it into my crease here, kind of blending it along. And then I'll go ahead and pack all over the lid as well. Add a little bit more here into the crease. So this is a really cool color, definitely a very summery color. It has a lot of orange vibes in it. And it seems to be blending pretty well. I definitely think Gnarly was a little bit better at blending. That's a really cool shade. I think orange looks pretty with the green eyes. So I'm going to go ahead also and start to pack it onto the lid. I think this is one too that you can kind of shear it out a little bit as you're blending it, or if you used a bigger brush like the Sigma E40 for example, if you use that, you could kind of shear out the pigment a little bit, is something that I noticed as I was blending it out. So you have a few different options. So there is Sequoia. I like how that looks, kind of just all over the lid and then even blended out. I think that's a really cool shade. Next up, I'm going to do Gold Rush, the last one in the first row. This is described as a rusty terracotta with gold flecks. I'm again going to use the E25 because a lot of times with shadows like this, the gold flecks don't really show up. So I consider this more of a matte than I do a shimmer. But again, I'm just going to go ahead and start to blend this into the crease. This is one that I would either add into the crease, the outer V, or again, you could put it all over the lid, and I think that this would be a really beautiful shade. I love terracottas. Terracotta for the eyes, for the lips. Like, terracotta I just think is such a beautiful shade. So when I saw this one, I thought, like, right away, like my attention kind of went to this one, just because I really enjoy these tones. So I can tell, right, even as I'm blending it, that I don't really see a ton of those gold flakes. I thought the same when I swatched it also. A lot of times you can kind of get the gold flakes to show up a little bit more if you're doing more of like a patting motion versus a blending motion. But again, you know, I kind of see these shadows here and there throughout different eyeshadow palettes, and I generally don't think that those gold flecks stick around very long. So again, I'm just gonna add a little bit more and blend along the crease here. I really like this shade. I'm really glad that this one is in here. I think that that's really pretty, and I think again that it blends pretty well also. I'm gonna go ahead and pack onto the lid. I'm just gonna use the same brush, just kind of more fill in the rest of my lid here. I think this would be so pretty just to have this on the eyes, and I've done looks like this before, just one shadow or maybe, you know, like two shadows. You could use like Gnarly or something to also kind of help blend it out. But to just put this all over the lid and then just add like a bunch of mascara and like a monochromatic lip, so pretty. I think that would be really pretty to do. So I'm excited to see this shade in here, but if you can see, you don't really see the gold flecks a ton, which is what I figured, but still think the shade is really pretty. I quite like it. I'm glad that it's in here. Next up, I'm going to do Highway 1. Again, I'm going to do the E25. This one is described as a chestnut brown with gold flecks. So just because I have more E25s than I did the other one, that's why I'm going to go ahead and use this one here. But first I'm going to go ahead and blend, and I kind of wonder again, you know, would those gold flecks really show up super well? So I think it's kind of getting to the point where this eye is like a little bit on the flustered side. It's like, what are you doing to me? But we're going to push through for just a few more shades. I kind of want to end on the glitter just because that's kind of the hardest to remove. So I'm just going to go ahead and try my best here, but it's really just a nice idea to get a feel for the shades versus just like hand or arm swatches. It's nice to be able to get an idea of the shades actually on the eyes, so that's why I really like doing these videos if I can, and you know, have the time, because they're kind of a lot to edit, and you know, also it's kind of hard on your eyes as you go through them. But here is Highway 1. So this is actually a deeper brown than I was expecting it to be. I probably shouldn't have brought it so far in to this part of the eye, but I wasn't thinking it was going to be as deep as it was. But really beautiful. Again, really easy to blend. I'm not really having any issues there, besides this being the 5th eyeshadow that I'm putting onto my eyes. Again, don't really see a lot of the gold flakes, so this could be a nice one to add to the outer corner or to build up depth on the eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and just apply it all over the lid. Again, this would be a really nice one, just like with Gold Rush, to apply it all over the lid and just have like a dark matte brown smoky eye. I've definitely done that look before too. Next up, I'm going to try Laguna with the E25. So this is described as a muted yellow peach. So first I'm going to go ahead and blend into the transition. I'm starting to get like eyeshadows in my brows. All kinds of fun stuff happening over here right now. So I actually, looking at it in the pan, I thought it would be more brown. Like I thought it would be maybe similar to Gnarly right above it, but just maybe a little bit warmer. But it actually has more of like an orangey peach vibe to it than I was expecting it to have. But still really pretty. I think it would pair well with Sequoia also. And really easy to blend out. So there is Laguna, and then I'm just going to go ahead and add to the lid. This is a really pretty shade, so different than what I was initially expecting just by looking at it. But again, that's why it's fun to try everything out on the eyes and see what it looks like. Alrighty, and there is Laguna, so a really nice matte shade. And then I'm going to move over to the glitter. I'm just going to apply the glitter with my finger. So this is El Capitan, described as a bronze, copper, and gold pressed glitter. Not a huge fan of glitter in palettes. Sometimes I find them harder to work with, but I did like the ones in the Sweet Talk palette, and I actually found myself using them a little bit more than I thought maybe I would have when I initially got the palette. So I was excited to see a glitter in here, and only being one glitter, I kind of wasn't mad at that also. But this is a fun glitter. This is like a party glitter. Ooh. So there is El Capitan applied just with my finger. That is a lot of fun. So it was easy to apply. I didn't notice a lot of fallout with this one. Again, I just have concealer on. I don't have like a glitter glue or anything like that, since we're just kind of quickly testing out some of this palette here. But that's actually really pretty. A lot of gold. I see a lot more gold than I really do any other color in this one, but there are some different, like if you kind of move, you know, you get some like differing shades in there. Ooh, that's actually really pretty. I quite like El Capitan. So I'm going to move to the last shade in the second row. This one is Surfrider, described as a mid-tone terracotta with gold glitter. Tried to take off the glitter on the other eye. Now we got a lot of craziness going on. That's why I wanted to end an eye with that shade. So I'm going to go ahead and move it to the other eye. I'm again going to use a flat shader from Sigma. This is the lid brush, the E56. So I'm first going to go in with it dry and apply onto the lid. This was the only shade when I was swatching them earlier, like doing my finger swatches, that I thought felt really, really hard in the pan. Not necessarily like hard pan, but it just was a lot firmer of an eyeshadow shade, if that makes sense. So this is what it looks like with a dry brush. So it's a little bit more on the muted side. This is supposed to be a mid-tone terracotta with gold glitter. I see more of a gold. It kind of makes it a little bit bronzy. It's kind of what I'm noticing, but I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more here to my brush and then spray it with some Fix Plus. So I don't know if I'm noticing like a whole huge ton of a difference. Like I felt like Diego really kind of amped it up when we went to a damp brush. I think this one is bringing out a little bit more of those like gold flecks, like the gold glitter a little bit more. But I don't notice as much of a difference from a dry to damp brush. And again, I just don't really see a lot of terracotta with this one. I mostly see like a bronzy gold. Maybe like with a hint of red, like if you shift a little bit, you can kind of get a little hint of red or a terracotta. I don't think it's my favorite shade in the palette, but I think that it's pretty. I think that it's a nice shade. On to the last row, so we have Cahuenga. This is described as a vibrant copper. So I'm going to use a Sigma F70, so just another flat shader here. First going to use it damp. I'm really curious about this shade because it's swatched really, really beautifully. Ooh, yeah. So this is like, you know, like a penny. Like I feel like we say that a lot when we are using copper shades, but this is like a penny on the eyes. That is really, really beautiful. And again, this is with a dry brush first. I'll add a little bit of Fix Plus so we can see what it looks like wet. I think I'm really gonna like this shade. I really do like a good copper. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit more and then spray with some Fix Plus. So again, this is giving it more of that wet look, like with Diego. But this is such a beautiful, vibrant shade on its own. Like again, I don't notice like a huge difference with this one like I did in Diego, but it's because this one is already, like it already packs so much oomph by itself. That is really pretty. The swatch on the eye is a little bit crazy, but I mean, that's okay. We're just trying to get a feel for the shade. Wow. That is a really, really beautiful copper. Next, we're going to try out Mission with an E25. This one is described as a deep brown with gold flecks. Again, not sure how much the gold flecks would show up, but this one looks really, really deep. So I'm going to kind of dot on the crease here and then start to blend out. Wow, that shade is like that is a very deep shade here in Mission. Again, I'm not seeing a ton of the gold flecks in here. I believe it was the gold flecks. So this is a shade that I would once again add to the outer part of my eye, or this would be a really good on the lower lash line to kind of create that smoky look. This is definitely the deepest so far in the palette. Still not too bad to blend though for how dark this shade is, and sometimes I can have issues even when I'm like actually trying to do an eye look, not just doing something like the live swatches here. But wow, I don't even think I need to build it up with a second color because I feel like we can kind of get the gist from here. But I'm gonna go ahead and fill in along the lid also. A little bit of the gold flecks in there, but again, not too much. This is mostly to me just a deep brown matte shade. Up coming in to Cruisin'. This one is described as a pale yellow gold using another E56 from Sigma. These are some of my favorite flat shader brushes. So I'm first going to use it dry and apply on to the lid. Oh, that's a really pretty shade. So this one is more of like a yellow gold than Diego. A little bit softer as well. But here is what Cruisin' is looking like with a dry brush. And I'm also going to go ahead and spray with some Fix Plus. So it kind of have the similar effect to Diego. It just brings out that gold a little bit more and also makes it more of just like a wet looking shadow on the eyes. And it definitely made it a lot more vibrant with the wet brush. So there is Cruisin'. The last shade in the palette that we're going to put on our eyes is the Bay. This is described as a neutral warm brown, and I'm just going to take an E25 and first start to blend this into the crease. Ooh. There is the Bay blended out in the crease. Felt like it was really easy to blend. Really nice shade. I like that we have this one also in addition to Gnarly, because it's just like a hint deeper, or it's not necessarily warmer because it's still kind of a more of a neutral shade, but just could add a little bit more depth than Gnarly does. I also really like having this shade in a palette, so I'm just going to go ahead and use that same E25 and start to pack it on to the lid here. And then this is the 12th and final shade, the Bay, on my eyes. Really pretty. I like that we have this one in the palette also. So now that we've seen all the swatches, I'm going to do just a little tutorial on the eye just to have an eye look done, and then we'll try out the mascaras. So I went ahead and did this eye. This is where I have a whole bunch of glitter over here. Makeup's probably looking crazy. That's okay. We're just going to keep moving. We're just going to keep moving through this video. So first up, I'm going to grab the shade The Bay down here on the bottom. I'm going to use my Bdellium Tools 785 tapered blending brush, and I'm going to go ahead and add that into the crease and just blend back and forth. I'm going to build it up just a little bit here. I couldn't decide if I wanted to do something with the terracotta or with the gold, so we're going with both because I couldn't decide between those two shades, so decided to put them together. Next up, I'm just going to keep the same brush. I'm going to come into a little bit of Gnarly, and I'm just going to blend that a little like above where we put the Bay, so just a little up top there. And just kind of blend those two together. Next up, coming in to Gold Rush. So this was the really pretty terracotta, and I'm going to take a very small, this is a Real Techniques brush, the Essential Crease brush. So just a smaller detail brush, and I'm going to work that on the outer part of the eye. And just kind of blend it right on the outer part a little bit into the crease here, but I'm not taking this one too far. So I'm just going to build that up a little bit more. Then I really wanted to use Diego. I was so impressed with that shade, so I'm just going to use a small flat shader. This one here is from Stilazzi. This is the Small Shadow L221 brush. So I'm just going to pick up a bit of this shade and again spray it with my Fix Plus because I really liked the way that it looked when we applied with a wet brush. And then I'm going to apply on the inner part of the eye and then have it meet that terracotta shade. It's just like liquid gold. It's so beautiful. I'm going to pick up just a very tiny bit more of Gold Rush on that smaller brush. And then just kind of blend those shades together so there's not such a harsh line there. For my waterline, I'm adding some Pure eyeliner. This is in Hotline. Apologies if you can hear the mowing. My neighbors in this new town mow every day, usually between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. My filming hours. It's very strange to me. I don't quite get it. Don't quite enjoy it either. But for the lower lash line, I'm just going to combine a little bit of Gold Rush with the Bay. And I'm just using the Morphe M507 for this. So I'm just kind of mixing them on the brush and then running that along the lower lash line. I did notice that this palette doesn't necessarily have like a good like real inner corner or brow bone. Like we have this lighter gold, but sometimes a gold is too much for my brow bone. So we don't have a ton of that in this palette, which I'm okay with because a lot of times I can use my highlighter for that. So if like I'm trying to complete one look, a lot of times I'll just grab my highlight for the inner corner or brow bone highlight. So I'm going to finish it off with mascara, but those are the live swatches and then doing just a little tutorial with the California Love palette. Really happy with this palette so far. I'll definitely do a couple more looks with it. If there's certain shades you want me to use, just let me know, but pretty happy with it. I feel like it's a pretty typical Colourpop pressed palette, which I'm quite happy with, but of course I'll have a full review coming a little bit further down the line here. So there are two mascaras in the California Love collection. We have Lover's Coral and also Brownie Points. These are $8 each. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do one on one eye, one on the other eye. I mean, we're already looking crazy after live swatches, so that's totally fine. So Lover's Coral is described as a true coral. I have tried out the Colourpop mascaras. I've tried out the black one. I like it, but it's not necessarily a favorite mascara of mine. I thought that it kind of flaked a little bit on me. I like how it makes my lashes look. I just wish that it wore a little bit better for me throughout the day. But if you guys have tried the mascara, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. So the packaging for Lover's Coral, and then that is quite the fun shade here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply to the lashes. I don't use colored mascaras a ton. I'm mostly into black or sometimes brown, but you know, it's kind of fun to do something a little outside the box, if you will. Alrighty, so this is Lover's Coral. On this eye here, I have 2 coats of mascara. I don't think this one like necessarily goes with this eye look by any means, but you know, if you did more of a coral look, this could be fun to keep with like a monochromatic theme. I think that looks pretty on the lower lashes too. Like maybe like lower lash mascara that's colored could bring a fun pop to the look. I thought that girl Shay, that's kind of what she did. She had like a yellow liner on and then this coral mascara on the bottom lashes, and I thought that that looked pretty cool. I don't know, kind of the more I'm looking at it, the more I like it. It's different. It's not something that I would do like on a daily basis or anything, but it's kind of different to be able to switch it up. So there is the coral mascara. And then we also have Brownie Points, and this is a true brown mascara. Again, sometimes I do like a brown mascara, but I'm going to go ahead and try this on my other lashes here. Got a little bit on me. I feel like it just kind of helps complete this look. I mean, why not? And here is the Brownie Points mascara. It's actually a deeper brown than I think I was expecting it to be. Sometimes when I use brown mascaras, it's just a little bit of a softer brown, but this is actually a darker brown than I think maybe I was expecting, but it looks pretty. You can see it definitely gave a lot of volume to my lashes and some length in there too. So that is 2 coats. So we have the Brownie Points mascara and the Lover's Coral mascara. So last up, I'm going to do lip swatches of the 5 ultra blotted lips that are in the collection. I added a little bit of Brownie Points to the other eye as well, just to kind of try to match them up a little bit, but you can still see some coral in there. But again, it's just a swatching video. It's all good. But we have, like I said, 5 of the ultra blotted lips here. These run for $7. I'm gonna go ahead and show swatches on my hand as well as swatch all of them on my lips. I will say the ultra blotted formula is not my favorite from Colourpop. They're a little bit more sheer. They're supposed to look like, you know, when you put lipstick on and then you blot your lips to kind of, you know, it almost kind of takes away some of the pigment, some of the pout of the lipstick, maybe look a little bit more natural, if you will. That's kind of the concept behind the ultra blotted lips, and I know that's for a lot of people, but it's just not my favorite. They're still nice. Sometimes I notice with these two, I feel like sometimes they get a little bit more streaky, and even when I was swatching them, I kind of felt that way, but we'll go ahead and try out all 5 of these on the lips and see what we think. First up, I have the shade Scenic Route. This one is described as a peachy nude. So here is Scenic Route. Definitely a very, very peachy lipstick. Very pretty. I didn't notice this one having a lot of streaking, which I think is good. This one is Scenic Route. So next up I have Ojai There. not 100% on this one, but this one is described as a fresh coral. So again, if you can tell with just the one swipe on the bottom lip, they're just a little bit more sheer. They have that blotted look to them. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit more on the top and bottom for each. So I like this color. It's definitely very, you know, spring, summer with this coral. But I do feel like this one is pretty streaky. Like I feel like I have lipstick missing from like the center of my lips when I press them together. But this one is Ojai There. Beautiful coral. Like I really, I like the way that this looks. It's just a little bit streaky. I like that you get more of a matte lip look with these two because that is also more of my preference. And again, you can have them be a little bit more sheer if you just do one coat, or you can build it up a little bit to get the two coats. Next, I'm going to do a Swing Away. So Swing Away is described as a vivid red orange. I probably shouldn't have agreed to go grocery shopping a day after filming a live swatching video because, whoa, this grocery store is probably not going to be ready for that. So this one is a Swing Away. I just did one coat of this one because I felt like this was a pretty vibrant color. Again, just a little bit on the streaky side, but not as much as the other one, especially for doing the one coat. I think that it looks pretty good. This is a really pretty color as well. Again, very bright, very vibrant, very poppin' for the summer. These are transfer proof as well, so once you wear them, they are completely dry. So again, I know a lot of people really do like this formula. They just always haven't been a favorite of mine, but some of these colors, man, some of these colors are really pretty, including a Swing Away. Next up, we have the shade Cypress Chill, super cute. This one is described as a bricky rose. So this is one swipe on each top and bottom, and again, like I feel like this one is pretty streaky. I like the color, but I'm gonna go ahead and add another layer and see if that helps. I feel like adding the second layer did help a little bit. I really like this color because it's more of like a bricky, like terracotta, which is really beautiful. I quite like it. I like it with this eye look because it brings like just a little bit of dramatics to it as well, but it's just a little bit on the streaky side. I do think that these also feel quite more dry on the lips, so if you don't like a really dry lip, you might not like this also because it does get dry right away. You know, it dries completely matte right away, but it feels a little bit more dry also. But really pretty shade. Just wish you would stop mowing the lawn. Really pretty shade. I just wish I liked this formula just a little bit better for this one. And then the last lip color that we have here is called Double Double. This one is described as a plum berry. So this one is kind of the most like vibrant, like I would say the most different out of the group of 5. Kind of gives me like Barbie pink vibes. So this is a one layer. I'm gonna go ahead and do another one in Double Double. So this is 2 coats of Double Double. Again, I just feel like it's kind of a streaky formula on my lips. Like I wouldn't feel super confident wearing this out because I just feel like it would be noticeable on the lips, you know. So this one here is the final ultra blotted lip we have in the collection in Double Double. Alrighty, so after that, a final lip swatch, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Woo! Doing some live swatches of the California Love palette, creating an eye look, testing out the mascaras, and also the 5 ultra blotted lips in the collection. I would love to know if you picked up anything from this collection or if you are planning to. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. This video was really fun to create. I'm feeling a little bit crazy at the moment, but it was a lot of fun to create, and I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. I hope that you also consider subscribing before you go, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.